Oh boy, it's Try Not to Start a Riot MCoC edition, version number 43, and today we're talking about how I don't like the champion, Nico Minoru. And yeah, this is going to be another controversial take of mine, where I take something that the general community has a great consensus over, and then say, I don't like this, or I like this, and it generally just goes against most normalcy. But that's fine, because everyone's very kind, and everyone appreciates other people's opinions, so it can't possibly go wrong, right? Yeah, I can't wait to see how this goes. But this one's gonna be a little weird, because, previously I had that pretty cool and interesting video where I praised 2025 Design Space and said it was my favorite of ever. And, well, turns out Nico is a champion of 2025, except I hate her. So, yeah, it's kind of weird, because I think most 2025 design stuff I really enjoy, and then this champion kind of was like, yeah, so it's not perfect, which, I said it wasn't perfect to begin with, but, this is kind of the antithesis of everything I liked, which we're gonna obviously break down a little bit later in the video, but if you haven't seen that one and are willing to not get rage baited, because I promise you it actually isn't rage bait, I'm just trying to share my thoughts, I think it would be interesting for you, and you should definitely check it out. But as far as this video today, we're mainly going to be talking about Nico only, maybe a couple other mystics in her class, and we'll be talking about the Cosmic Defense class as a whole, but we'll go ahead and start getting into it. Behold this lovely, colorful, and extremely overcomplicated chart that I made, talking about Mystic and Cosmic class relationship. And I dated back all the way to Kushala, and dated back all the way to Maestro when it comes to starting the Mystic attackers and Cosmic defenders, and basically made lines drawing to which is a good counter to what. And as you can see, I have Kushala pointing to Maestro, Serpent, and Thanos, because she's pretty good for all of them. And then we have White Tiger pointing to Serpent and Dark Phoenix, because she's pretty good for those two. And then moving on, Shothra is pointing to all of them, except for Dark Phoenix, where it's a dotted line, because it's Shothra works really well for Dark Phoenix, but it's kind of hard to manage still. And then Spiral, Maestro, Serpent, and Dark Phoenix, she's not good for Thanos. Isophine, Serpent, and kind of Dark Phoenix, another dotted line addition, because she's not good for Thanos or Maestro. And then we have Nico, who is a solid blue line pointing to all of them. And so this is going to be the main problem I have with Nico. It's the fact that she is a direct counter to every single potent Cosmic Defender. And that means that if you can counter all four of them, why do you need the other 5 Mystics on the screen? And Nico takes, not even just countering the defenders, though she, turns their kits off. And that's what makes it worse. Kushala's very good for Serpent, but she doesn't turn his kit off. Same with Shothra for, all of them. I guess Maestro, she almost turns Maestro's kit off. But, Serpent and Thanos and Dark Phoenix, you have to, work to have success with. Nico is just yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use my pre-fight, and then you just die. And there's going to be, no defender threats left at that point. And that's kind of what I have an issue with. Not only is she fighting every single Cosmic Defender, she's doing it with ease, and it means that the rest of the Mystics are kind of suffering due to her success. So we're going to break down how Nico works for all these Cosmic Defenders in a moment with my next slides. Starting with Maestro, and this one is, funny enough, her worst matchup, and it's still very good. She is a very good Maestro counter, because basically you have no ISO buffs or passives until he gets into Superior Rage, and if you're playing it right, in most scenarios he's going to be dead before Superior Rage happens, because her damage is pretty good. She also places the acid burns around his poison immunity, so you don't even need to use your Incinerate pre-fight, which he would also be immune to. But you're doing all the damage that he would be immune to, because she has this acid burn mechanic to get around Cosmics who are poison immune, which, just means that she's able to take Maestro and able to take Thanos, so that she's able to counter those and not be completely useless against them. But he doesn't get his Pierce, or his Glancing, or his Radiation until he gets into Superior Rage. And he's probably going to be dead before he gets into Superior Rage. So, his kit's almost entirely shut off. And we move on to Serpent, and this one, it's like, okay, she places buff immunity, so he can't gain power. He can't get his true sense, or true focus, I think. So he can't get any anti-miss, so your special one gets to benefit from the, invisibility, which is fine. Like, I don't really care that he doesn't have his anti-miss, because your special one invisibility is not, like, the most important thing in Nico's kit. But also, he gets literally no death immunity. She is, like, the best option at countering his death immunity. Even when champs like Spiral are specifically made to counter it, Spiral has to work for it, Nico just does it. And then she can special spam because she's turning off all of his power gains, so you have to bait his specials less, and she's getting a bunch of power from MD, and just power gain from failing the buffs with buff immunity, so you're spamming specials to keep his call force at 0 almost the entire fight. And so Serpent, like, basically has no kit. If he can't gain call force, if he can't gain buffs, especially death immunity, he's a potato. And then we move on to fight Thanos, and this is just another one where it's like, turn on buff immunity pre-fight, spam special 1, Thanos has no kit. Because if he can't gain buffs, which means Energizer Fury, then he's not really doing much. And then if you use the halt on the special 1, which is the special you want to spam anyway, then you are going to be ignoring the unstoppable aspect of his kit, and Thanos has nothing left to do. Because if you can just hit him when he's unstoppable permanently, then it doesn't matter. And then he has the acid burn, or she has the acid burn to get around his immunities to poison. So, you don't even need to use your Incinerate pre-fights, because why? Yeah, anyway. So, if you can't gain Energized, and you can't gain Halt, and you can't gain Furies to, make your life a bit more inconvenient, then Thanos doesn't even have a kit. And then we have Dark Phoenix, the character who was sold for $1,000, and then immediately the next month we get a counter that turns her into Realm of Legends Winter Soldier, because Nico makes it to where she has no Nova Flame, because you have poisons at all times, no Immortality, because buff immunity is there at all times, no Safeguard, so she can't even reduce the potency of your poisons or whatever, and no Unstoppable, so you can bait her special 1 completely free. The only thing that Dark Phoenix has left is the root mechanic on the special 2, and it's just like, okay, don't push her to special 2 when she has a 0.5 second duration special 1, and it doesn't matter if she throws it. So, do I really mind that much that free-to-play players are getting a counter to the new pay-to-win character? No. Do I have a problem with that new pay-to-win character having the kit of Realm of Legends Winter Soldier from this new character? Yes. There should be at least a little bit of effort into making Dark Phoenix a potato, rather than just punching her to death and her having literally 0 defensive threat left whatsoever. I really don't care that Nico counters Dark Phoenix really well. I just care that she counters her as well as, like, the best counter to anything ever. Because there's, again, 0 kit remaining. And so going back to this chart here, we can really try to, at least I can really try to emphasize why I kind of have a problem with this. Because I liked what the design space was doing, to where you get a champion to counter this defender, but then they can't counter this defender, so that you would be able to make it to where you need to have more than one top character on your roster. Like, I need to have Jean to counter Yelena, but I would need to have Gentle to counter Bullseye. Because Gentle's not the best Yelena counter, and Jean's not the best Bullseye counter. Both of the two can do the other one, but not perfectly by any means. In fact, Jean versus Bullseye is honestly kind of difficult unless you're punching down. And Gentle versus Yelena is also kind of difficult unless you're punching down. And so if Nico just effortlessly turns off all 4 of these kits, then I have literally no reason to rank up Isophine, Spiral, Shothra, White Tiger, or Kushala. And that just kind of sucks. Like, I don't want one Mystic to do every single thing I could possibly ever want a Mystic to do. And that's kind of what Nico Minoru feels like. I want to have the, legitimate reason to try to use more than one Mystic. So if Nico kind of does it all, it's just like, okay, well, if she does everything, then the other options I have don't matter. And I don't like that. And I understand if someone else might like that. They want their Mystic to do every single cosmic opponent, which is fine. Like, you can like that. I just don't. And that's kind of like the reason this video is titled Why I Hate Nico. Because I don't like that type of design. And we don't have to talk about this in just the context of defenders. We can talk about it in the context of nodes as well. Like even just looking at nodes on the Alliance War map that are anti-nullify, like return policy, or the one where you have to knock them down to disable nullify immunity, or the one where they get the power efficiency and then it also messes with that kind of thing. It's just like buff immunity just doesn't have a weakness right now, and obviously that's going to change in the future, right? Like our next Cosmic Defender is probably going to have some kind of anti-buff immunity or some kind of new node set that we're going to see in new content is going to restrict buff immunity, but like at the time of Nico's release that doesn't exist, and it's like, sure, that's probably going to be a problem that's fixed in the future, but like right now I kind of hate it, and I don't like the fact that right now she has virtually no weaknesses. Because if you counter every single Cosmic Defender and you basically get around all of the nodes that might have anti-buff control, then you're immediately the best thing since 5G internet, so I don't have to leave my room and go see the sunlight. Or touch grass. So I decided I would make a wishful thinking slide on just a few ability changes that I would have made to Nico personally, just to make her not the strongest thing ever. And these are just like 3 options where like only one of them would ever happen, and like if I picked option 1, option 2 and 3 wouldn't happen, or if I picked option 2, option 1 or 3 wouldn't happen, because like she still needs to be a strong character, right? She just doesn't need to destroy everything and be better than everyone else. So, like, my first idea was you could turn the buff immunity into Fate Seal, which, you know, Fate Seal's been used before. It's already an extremely strong mechanic. Like, it doesn't get around Serpent because he's immune to it, and it doesn't get around Dark Phoenix's stuff, but it would still be very good for, like, Thanos, and it would be very good for Maestro. And it's like, this is probably never gonna happen, and it probably shouldn't happen, because, like, she was meant to be a Dark Phoenix counter, but, like, something to where maybe this Fate Seal would be able to get around the immortality stuff, like, make it reduce the ability accuracy of immortality specifically, so she would be able to get around Dark Phoenix, but not Serpent. Because does she really need to do all 4 of them? Anyway, I've rebounded on that too much. And then the second option was like remove Acid Burn, so that you'd be forced to use your Incinerate pre-fight for Thanos, so you'd do a little bit less damage to him and nuke him down a little bit slower. So she's not like the best option for Thanos, and then that would mean that she's not good for Maestro at all, which is perfectly fine, because there's by far more Maestro counters in existence than Serpent, Phoenix, and Thanos. And then option 3 was remove the Halt, meaning she can't really do Thanos. Which I think is also fine. Like, then she'd be good for Maestro, Serpent, and Dark Phoenix still, but like Thanos would be a significant weakness for her, so she'd at least have like some significant weakness in the Cosmic class. But anyway, this is just like wishful thinking, and I don't think any of this would ever happen, and maybe it shouldn't ever happen, but this was just a few ideas that I have to like nerf her a little bit. But yeah, moving on. Anyway, my whole thing is like, I've never seen a champion who just shuts off a prominently defender-heavy class better than Nico does. Like, Cosmic is the best defender class in the game, and Nico counters every single one. And even like other defender classes, like Skill has a good bit of defenders in it for sure. Like, the best skill champion counter, in my opinion, is Jean Grey, and still Bullseye is like actually difficult for her. Like, she doesn't just turn off the kit of every single skill champ, because Yelena's like still kind of difficult for her. Bullseye is like not even an optimal matchup compared to a lot of other mutants, and it's just like, it doesn't matter because Nico does everything for you. And I don't know, maybe I'm just rambling on, but I just don't like how this character makes it to where the game feels very uninteractive when you're using her against a Cosmic. But I understand the appeal of that, and I'm not trying to shame anyone who really likes Nico and thinks Nico's their favorite character, because use her. Like, she's an extremely strong character, and I would never tell you to not use an extremely strong character. But when the Cosmic class has been developed over time as strongly as it has, because it has received the most development defender-wise out of any other class in the entire game, in my opinion, and then boom, Nico shuts everything off. I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit shorter than a lot of my other hot takes, and if you did enjoy it, leave a like or a comment. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say for this one. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.